North Americans too often assume that people elsewhere hold comparable values, or would, at least if they were given the opportunity. Chapter 12 opens with this statement that I think is a very powerful one to make, but at the same time, I really do agree with it. Coming from a society where what is right and what is wrong is determined by standards that are completely different than the US, I can really see how there is a vast difference between the ethical standards of Bahrain and that of the Western world, and more specifically the United States of America. And then in the same way, if I were to compare it like Bahrain to Saudi Arabia, which is just a few minutes away, there are different sets of moral beliefs and values that suggest what is ethical and what is not, and it just depends on the way that each community is set up. Because of that, I think that the notion of a general transcultural ethical standard is highly improbable, just because, for example, in the United States, the things that govern what is correct and what is incorrect, what is right and what is wrong, is stuff such as the Constitution. While if you go to Bahrain, it's the Constitution and religious beliefs, and then if you go to a country like Saudi Arabia, it's just the religious beliefs. And to think that we could find a standard that crossed all of these different cultural territories is highly unlikely. When it comes to intellectual property, I think that each one of these cultures deals with these things differently. For example, in the United States, it's against the law to take a song from someone and post it as though you had made it, and it's copyright infringement and all of that. But if you were to do this back home, nobody really cares. There aren't any rules, there aren't any systems in place that decide if you can or cannot do this. In 2011, the Stop Online Pirating Act was issued, and before coming to the States, I had heard of this, and I was really scared to come here because I'm a person that likes to spend a lot of time watching things online and downloading music online, because back home it's not that much of a big deal. But coming here, I was always worried that I would get caught or that something would happen to me, because there were these kind of strict rules and strict systems in place. But when I did come here, the first time that I watched something online or that I downloaded a song, I wasn't punished for it. And it was as though society doesn't think that intellectual property is worth anything, while the government does. You can set copyright rules on certain things. You can ask for royalty fees if someone uses any of your stuff, but if someone does use any of your intellectual property, you wouldn't be able to know unless it was a public thing. And in Taylor Swift's case, now she removes her songs off Spotify, but if you go on YouTube, that's still that's an environment where I could possibly download songs off the internet and not be called on for it. So I think, in some sense, Taylor Swift is trying to change the nature of consumerism, as she's trying to force people to buy stuff that they could get for free. Another example of this is Game of Thrones. This isn't the same example per se, but on April 12th, the first 4 episodes of the HBO show were leaked. And personally, I'm an avid viewer of this show, and when these episodes were released, I refused to watch any of the episodes because I knew that this would ruin my experience. So now, when it's something that I care about, when it's property that I am interested in, such as a specific TV show or an episode, I will refuse to go the path the illegal path. But when it's something like Taylor Swift songs that I personally don't have a connection to, I fail to see the importance or the significance of